So on last week's video regarding Artifact Power User, which I love as an add-on, very simple, and I talked about it last week, like I said, there was a conversation held between me and a viewer by the name of Daniel Cornella. And while the conversation didn't last for too long, maybe 2 or 3 posts from him and me answering and responding to some of his questions, it brought up one topic that I kind of want to talk about because I think that some people, a good chunk of people, have this in the back of their minds, and it asks a very simple question that I want to definitely discuss with you guys. And those two things are: one, is World of Warcraft as a game dying? And two, am I personally interested? Do I personally plan on playing the classic version of World of Warcraft? So what I want to do is initially let's talk about World of Warcraft dying, because to me that is a more interesting subject, because classic WoW, it's an easy yes or no. So, is World of Warcraft dying? The problem from Daniel's perspective in making this comment that World of Warcraft is a dying game is we don't have the data to back that up. We don't have accurate data to back that up. And simply put, Blizzard has no plans to tell us. They have, in financial calls in the past, we have been told, hey, you guys have 15, 14, 12, 10 million subscribers. We lost this many subscribers. But then Blizzard quite simply said, we're not going to tell you how many subscribers you have anymore. We're not going to publicly release this information. And as far as we know as players, we're not going to get that information for any period in the foreseeable future. So long term, is World of Warcraft going to die? I'm going to answer an opposite of how I answered Daniel. Yeah, World of Warcraft long-term is dying. I mean, let's be honest here. The game is 13 years, and eventually this game will die. It will perish. Something, whether it is World of Warcraft 2, it's another company, something else is going to overtake, this game that is going to kill it, that's going to destroy it, or we're just going to move on and no longer play MMOs. I mean, that's the way it's going to be. Now, short-term, I don't think so. I think Blizzard has done a lot of things right when it comes to retaining players, but I think their problem is they're not bringing in as many. There's a slow bleed, I believe. The faster release schedule is something, from my point of view, really excites me. And I think for a lot of average raiders, it excites them too. The fact that we have only been in rate tiers for a few months, and then something else comes along. Emerald Nightmare, you were in it for a couple of months, and then, whoa, Nighthold came out. And then you kind of got burnt out on Nighthold, and whoa, Tomb of Sargeras came out. And right now, we're in that period where we're definitely getting burnt out with Tomb of Sargeras. Well, in a week and a half, we get a brand new raid. Cool. Awesome. But this also has had an ill effect on general players, your average guys like me and you, and some of the higher end. You look at how many raiding guilds have just stopped playing because of this release schedule, because of the grindy nature of legendaries, because of the pre-725, 7.2 grindy nature of artifact power, because of the time commitment, which I've talked about in previous videos, that players have simply decided they would rather not play because of this. Even though for your average player, this stuff is really fun, or at least it's exciting to see new content. So I would also like to point out that I think World of Warcraft is slowly going from a game where you have the majority of your player base, fully committed, where every day or, at a set period you log in, you play, to a game where you log in, you play the rate tier, you maybe knock it out on normal or heroic, or maybe even you're cool with just doing it on LFR a couple of times. You end your subscription, and then the next rate tier comes out, and you resubscribe. And I have a couple of friends like that. One of my best friends in the whole world who does that. He'll resubscribe. He'll go through LFR. He'll PvP a little bit. He'll play around with me, do some 5-mans, and then he's off doing other things. He's off playing other games. And that's cool. That's not something that I enjoy, but that's where I think a lot of players are. let's see the current content, and then I'm going to go do something else. And then when the next current content comes out, the new updates, I'll come back and check it out. So we also have to remember that World of Warcraft as a game has been around for 13 years. So to simply say it's dying isn't the case. 1 or 2 years in, saying it's dying is perfectly acceptable because so many other MMOs have done that. World of Warcraft, WoW has held this title as the most successful, I'll say, MMO long-term for 13 years. And yes, there are faults. We know that there are a ton of faults. We know, legendaries and artifact power and all this stuff, there are faults. And there have been other games that I've played, that I've been part of this, where, I stopped playing World of Warcraft or wasn't as fully committed because I was playing Warhammer Online, Star Trek Online, Conan, Age of Conan, Guild Wars 2, whatever, where I took a break, I wasn't as fully committed, and I quickly came back. Star Wars, the Old Republic was the same one, where I wasn't fully committed. And then I came back to World of Warcraft. And that's where a lot of players, I would say, have done. While the player base was chipped away, World of Warcraft has held on to this title as the most successful MMO for 13 years. So to say that it's simply dying, I don't think is true. What's killing WoW long term is, one, the vast amount of free games out there. You look at League of Legends, etc. The cheap titles that kind of satiate that I want a new game urge. Well, you go on Steam and you can find, whether it's the winter sales, or which is coming up, I guess, next month, or just cheap games that players can simply just buy a whole lot of them, or the big AAA titles, Call of Duty and Destiny 2 and Battlefield 1 and all that jazz that players are just going to spend money on and enjoy and not even think about World of Warcraft. There's also not a huge commitment when it comes to playing the game because the barrier of entry, especially for new players, like I talked about, I had this buddy of mine who his frustration is, from his point of view, he doesn't have the gear to raid, he doesn't have the artifact power to raid because he hasn't been playing the whole expansion. To me, it's not that big of a deal. For him, it's an uphill battle, so he's not interested in coming back, even though he's raided with us in the past. And I think there is a huge disconnect socially as the game has aged. We know in vanilla WoW, there's a huge commitment to your server, to your faction. We know in the Burning Crusade, it was still there. And we know as quality of life changes have come out, LFR, being able to queue in dungeons and 5-mans and all that crap, have come out. While, yes, super convenient and we thoroughly enjoy them, and they are, in my opinion, a necessary evil, they've killed off the social aspect. So you have an MMO that you can play solo. You have a ton of other games, a variety of amounts of money, League of Legends and all that stuff that's free, all the way up to the $60 title that are keeping everyone's attention. And you just have so much stuff that you have to do to play the game. That's what's killing World of Warcraft. Now, Classic isn't going to kill World of Warcraft. Those that are coming back to play Classic WoW probably wouldn't have come back otherwise. There's a reason why they're not currently subscribed to World of Warcraft. They are playing other games. They're not interested in the grind. They're not interested in the features. They have other things going on. They simply aren't interested in it. We weren't going to get those guys anyways. These are players who want to go back and remember and play old WoW. Those that are currently playing, there's a reason why they're currently playing. They like the release schedule. They like the artifact power system. They like the legendary system. They like the raids. They like the 5-mans. They like the current game. So while, yes, they probably, a good chunk of them will try it, and some of them will put significant time into it, I don't think the current base is simply going to switch to Classic WoW a significant enough amount that's going to mean anything. So is World of Warcraft dying? No, I don't think it is, Daniel. I think over time it will die like any other multiplayer game? Of course it will. I think that Blizzard has done a ton of things right in regards to Legion. There are a lot of things I love about this expansion, but they have learned a lot of lessons. They've stumbled quite a few times, and I think that Battle for Azeroth, like I said before at the beginning of Legion, I think Legion was the expansion that either doomed or saved World of Warcraft. And I think it is leaning towards saving World of Warcraft, at least for the foreseeable future. You know, we might get a couple more expansions. Let's not have a Warlords of Draenor, but they still need to have that momentum, and they still need to, and I think with Battle for Azeroth, while again we don't have a lot of information, I think they are bringing in that little nostalgia with the Warcraft 3, amazing game. If you guys have never played it, you should definitely check it out. I think that we're headed in the right direction to turn this ship around, to make sure that this game lasts many more years. But eventually, yeah, it's going to die. Now, the second question, or rather the second part of this discussion, is Daniel asked, hey, am I going to play Classic WoW? And I will answer this one the same way that I answered on the YouTube comment to him. Probably, yeah. There's more to it than that, but probably, yeah. I played during Classic WoW. And I've told you guys this story. I really didn't like it to begin with. I didn't understand the system. Hell, nobody knew how to fucking play World of Warcraft in the beginning. Nobody did. But I played during Classic, and I hated it. And then a buddy of mine convinced me to try during one of the 10-day trials or something. And I was like, holy crap, I'm having a ton of fun. And I started to play again. And I raided Molten Core before deploying my second time, I think. I don't remember. That was 12, 13 years ago. I've played Classic, I've played Burning Crusade, I've played every single expansion with the exception of a good chunk of Cataclysm and maybe the beginning of MOP because of life reasons. But the determining factor for me to see if I'm going to put in a significant amount of time into Classic World of Warcraft is I want to see what Classic means. And I know a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people on the forums, a lot of people on Reddit have been saying, what does Classic mean? Does it mean that you're not going to add queue systems, the LFD, the LFG tool? Because that's a huge, whether you guys want to admit it or not, it's a huge quality of life change. Or, things that, there's just so many things out there, both, some of you that didn't play that don't understand how slow the gameplay was. I remember dying a bazillion times, and again, I sucked. A bazillion times I would die on a mage, and just how it's not fun some of the things are with Classic WoW, and some of the classes that, I know a lot of people have said this. You want to play a warrior? You're tanking. You want to play a priest? You're healing. Like, you want to play a druid? You're healing? I think. I don't really remember. I think they were only healers back then. Again, I played a rogue, and I was really bad at it. And then I switched over to a priest, and all it did was heal. And it's things like that where there aren't three viable specs. There's one spec, and you're going to play it, and you're going to love it. And good luck. So I want more information. How Classic is Classic? What things are we and are we not going to get that are currently in the game? There are things that people want, that they think they want, that they don't really want. And I think a good chunk of those that are saying, I can't wait for it, I want Classic, they have huge rose-tinted goggles. Now, yes, there have been private servers, and I know people still play on private servers that are, I can't recall the name of the big one that Blizzard brought in. Obviously, there's a huge player base that are interested in it. We'll see what happens. I want more information. And we don't know when we're going to get a release date. We don't know when we're going to get more information. So, again, yeah, I'm probably going to play it. I'll at least check it out. Will I put in a significant amount of time? Time will tell. So, with all that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts as to whether you think World of Warcraft is dying and what you want with Classic WoW. If you liked it, you guys know the deal. Thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. Let me know in the comments what you did and didn't like about this video. And until next time, guys, I'll see you.